Political panel. Emily, Tisch Sussman is a Democratic strategist. Joe Walsh is a former congressman who ran for the 2020 Republican presidential nomination. Good morning to both of you. So, Emily, how big is this for Democrats? And we just heard Julie talk about some of the sticking points that are in the Senate. What do you think is going to stay and what do you think is going to have to go?
This is huge for Democrats. So much of the support that Democrats got both in the last presidential election and with members of Congress that were voted in then from independents was because they wanted to see something. They wanted to see effectiveness. They wanted to see Democrats actually pass something that will help regular people. And that is a ton of what is in the Build Back Better plan. It's paid leave, it's child care, it's home care visits. It's things that real people need to get back on track and feel like they're going to do better. So this is huge to have passed the House. We heard from Speaker Pelosi that she says 90%. I think that's probably pretty close to what is agreed upon between what the House passed and what the Senate is going to consider. So we really are on track. Democrats need to show points on the board. They have to show they can pass something, and they have to show it can be big. And that's exactly what this plan does. I would say what we're going to see the changes in the Senate make is the Senate is the Senate. The Senate is the upper body. They like to show their mark on what they have. So they're going to change. They're going to change some of the configurations of how the programs work. Things like maybe it's assault deduction, maybe it's lowering drug prices, but the bulk of the programs will stay the same. Like your reporter mentioned, paid leave. I think that is something that actually will come back into the bill because there's been such an outcry of women in particular that something they need, not a nice to have.
And Joe, let's talk about that marathon speech by Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. Democratic Congressman Mondaire Jones of New York tweeted, quote, Kevin McCarthy has now shown more anger about making child care affordable than he has about the insurrection on January 6th. But Joe, Punchbowl News put it this way. They say he did this to earn him praise from some of his party's hardliners, moving him closer to his goal of speaker. Was he essentially just playing to that audience?
Yes, Kevin McCarthy wants to be speaker. Everything he says and does for the next year is geared toward that. He needs to show to the crazies in his party that he will speak for them and do whatever he has to do for them. And again, I agree with Emily. Politically, this is a huge victory for the Democrats, for Biden. But keep an eye on, again, McCarthy and the Republicans. There's a huge voter enthusiasm gap right now. And if the Democrats can't turn that around, McCarthy probably will be speaker.
Emily, this week we saw a Republican lawmaker punished for posting a violent video. Of course, we're talking about Paul Gosar. Now we have Republicans praising Kyle Rittenhouse, offering him a job. Is this essentially about winning culture war points, rallying the base here?
Absolutely. That's all it's about. Republicans feel like they've targeted in on anger. They felt it through the Tea Party starting in 2010. They felt like Trump tapped into something. And we see from the Republican governors conference they had last week and the messaging they're putting out, culture war is where they think they can score points, where they feel they will get voter enthusiasm through anger. And it turned out to be kind of true in this past gubernatorial races in Virginia and in New Jersey as well. They weren't able to flip it, but they were able to close the gap quite a bit. This is why Democrats have to show effectiveness. Effectiveness will be the thing that Democrats need to run on. When people can feel a difference in their lives, that is the thing that they're going to have to move the ball on. And will it be enough to counter people just being fired up? Yet to be seen. Joe,
I've got to be quick with you. I only have a few seconds left, but McCarthy said he would give Gosar and Green their committee assignments back if the Republicans win the House. Given what we just heard, how do you see a Republican-led Congress governing?
It's dangerous. This is scary. Look, what Paul Gosar and these other Republicans are doing is dangerous and ugly. What they did with the Rittenhouse, celebrating the Rittenhouse ruling, they are radicalized and they reflect a radicalized base. This is a scary moment for my former political party.
Joe Walsh and Emily, Tisch Sussman will have to leave it there. Thank you both.